Well, hey friends, and welcome back. Today, I want to share with you 7 things to stop doing to simplify your life. And these are all things that I've done in the past, and maybe you have as well, but they're things that I've really consciously been trying to make an effort to work on so that I can simplify my life and make the most of my everyday. At the end of the day, these are all barriers to happiness, joy, and fulfillment, so I've really made an intentional effort to remove them from my life. All right, but now I want to get right into this, so if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button below for more weekly, simple and intentional living inspiration. Let's get started with the first thing that you can stop doing in order to simplify your life, and that's to stop planning every second of your day. As humans living on this planet, we need margin. And if you're always going from work to an activity to a meeting to an event and so on and so forth, that's really just a recipe for burnout. And if you haven't experienced that already, you can just trust me on this one. I've been there, done that, and that was literally me earlier this year. I was constantly stressed out and overwhelmed by my schedule. I knew that I was doing too much, but I didn't really feel like there was anything that I could remove. Because I'd labeled everything going on in my life as essential, I ended up saying yes to a whole lot more than I should, and that left me with no margin. The thing is, we're human beings. We're not machines. You know, with a machine, you can just plug it in and it can run 24/7. I feel like sometimes we want to think that we're like that, but it's just not true. We aren't designed to be always on the go. And so rather than looking at machines as our inspiration on how to live, we should instead actually look at the other living creatures around us. So just take the animals that we see around us every day. Maybe it's a pet dog, a cat, or a turtle on the side of the road. Okay, I don't know how often that last one happens, but you get the point. With none of those animals, do you see them running around all day long? Sure, they may hunt, they eat, they play, but they also spend a lot of time resting. In fact, I actually read a study that cats can often spend 15 to 20 hours a day napping and resting. And while obviously humans are distinct from every other animal in the animal kingdom, I think that there's still something that we can learn here. We need rest and we need margin in order to thrive. And in the modern day world that we live in, we simply aren't getting enough. Instead, we habitually pack out our schedules, leaving little to no breathing room. And that's not sustainable, it's not healthy, and it ends up leaving a lot of us just feeling empty. And so if that feeling of perpetual busyness is something that resonates with you, you feel like you're just constantly teetering on the edge of burnout, I'd really encourage you just to take a step back. And if right now you're feeling like I was a few months ago, that you can't remove anything from your schedule because it's all essential, I'd really encourage you just to challenge your thoughts around that. Because that's exactly what I told myself. I'd said, oh, I can't remove anything because it's all important. And sure, all of those things that I'd been doing might have been good things, but they weren't all essential. And when I finally got to a place where I was ready to be excruciatingly honest with myself, I realized that some things are essential, yes, but others I could afford to let go of. And sure, there was a bit of pain, even a sense of loss in letting go of those things, but I'd finally gotten to a place where I realized I couldn't continue to operate like this. We all need margin in order to thrive, and sometimes it means that we need to take things out of our schedules in order to create space for that. But let me tell you, when you finally do create that margin, that space in your schedule, it really does create breathing room and just space for you to be able to enjoy and to invest in fully every other aspect of your life more. All right, and then the second thing that you can stop doing is to stop trying to be perfect. Perfection is an impossible standard, and it's one that we as humans are never going to be able to achieve. I think that's something that's easy for us to say, and we can even know it in our heads, but it doesn't always connect with our heart. And so despite knowing that we can't be perfect, we'll still try and try and try to meet these impossible standards that we set up for ourselves in our heads. And the thing is, I think it's a good thing to have specific goals and to aim for them. But it's also really important that we recognize when something is good enough. If you're a busy mom wanting to work out, but also trying to raise a couple of kids, going to the gym and working out 5 days a week might not be realistic for you. Or for me, I live with a spouse who's not a minimalist, and so there's just an extent to which we're going to have things in our house that I don't really feel are necessary. And so whether it's with minimalism, your home, working out, your wardrobe, or anything else, I just really encourage you to let go of that ideal of trying to make things perfect. At the end of the day, those expectations and desires for everything to look exactly right or to feel exactly right are actually just going to put more stress on you than they're going to contribute and add to your life. So have grace with yourself and those around you, and if you've set the bar a little bit too high, maybe it's time to lower it a bit. It might be that where you're already at right now is good enough. But then moving on, number 3 is to stop worrying what other people will think. Let me just say that as a recovering people pleaser, this one has been an ever-evolving journey for me. But there is so much freedom in letting go of the hypothetical judgments of other people. You know, there really is truth to the fact in that most of the time when you think other people are looking at or judging you, you're not even on their mind. But even if they are, who cares? Letting go of what other people think of you is going to free you up and enable you to make decisions that are based on your dreams, your goals, and your values. Not some random person that you met at the store, in the comments on social media, or whatever. Now, I do want to make a quick note with this one. Not worrying what other people are going to think is different than asking for advice or opinions from close, trusted people in your life. In fact, I would say it's really good and helpful to have trusted people speaking into your life. So you just want to be careful with who you give that power. And so I'd really just encourage you to ask yourself, are the people you're letting influence you people who've earned that by showing you time and time again their love and commitment to you? Or are they just random people who you let have way more say in your life than they should? Okay, but the number 4 is just don't overcomplicate it. We tend to naturally overcomplicate even the most simple things in life, and that's very rarely productive. And so rather than trying to come up with some kind of intricate system for getting everything done, or trying to know absolutely everything there is to know about something before you even begin, just start. Start taking one step at a time, and it will naturally evolve over time. Martin Luther King Jr. has a great quote that says, "You don't need to see the entire staircase, just take the first step." And so whether you want to start a morning routine to declutter your home or to achieve any other goal in life, the key is just to start and to start small. You don't need to make some wholesale complicated change. In fact, some of the biggest and most transformative changes in our lives actually begin with the smallest steps. And so starting today, declutter that first space in your home. Or set your alarm for 30 minutes earlier so you can start your day with a bit more time. Start small, start simple, and build off of your successes. It's honestly the best and easiest way to create sustainable systems. Number 5 really ties exactly into what we were just talking about, and that's to stop making excuses. We often want to wait until we have all the information or we're 110% completely prepared before we start something. But the problem is that can often paralyze us and actually lead us to inaction. And so my encouragement to you is just to do and do imperfectly. And my YouTube channel is really the perfect example of this. Fairly often, people will come up to me and tell me that they want to start a YouTube channel, and they'll ask how I got started. And the real answer is, I just did. Looking back at the time, there were honestly 1,000,001 reasons why I shouldn't have started a YouTube channel. I was still in college, I was newly married, I had a job. There were a lot of things kind of going against it. But it was something that I really wanted to do. And so one day I made the decision and I just started. And back then I was a terrible videographer. I was so uncomfortable in front of the camera. Honestly, so many of those old videos just make me cringe going back and looking at them. But I made them and I learned in the experience of doing, and each time I got a bit better and a bit better and a bit better. Maddie Hapoya uses the phrase learn, make, repeat, and that's exactly what I did. If I let all those excuses of why I shouldn't start a YouTube channel get in the way, I wouldn't be where I am today, and honestly, my life would look a lot different. And so I just really want to encourage you, stop making excuses, don't wait until you're ready, start now and learn as you go. Sure, you're going to mess up, you're going to make mistakes as you go, it's not going to look perfect, but like we were just talking about, you're never going to achieve perfection, so why try chasing it? Start now, do and do imperfectly, and you'll learn over time. Often, experience really is the best teacher. All right, and then we have 2 left here. Number 6 is to stop worrying about the past or the future. Accepting and living in the present is one of the best things that we can do to really make the most out of life. Of course, there's nothing wrong with looking back fondly on old memories or making plans for the future. But often, especially if we aren't content in our current life situation, we can spend a lot more time than is productive dwelling on them. But if you allow them to consume too much of your time or energy, it's going to impede your ability to really enjoy and to make the most out of your daily life. And so make the choice to live in the present, to enjoy life's simple pleasures, and to have an attitude of gratefulness. And yes, I know this is one of those things that's so much easier said than done. But when we're always living in the past or the future, we're missing out on a life, because life happens in the here and now. Okay, and then finally, number 7 is to stop comparing your journey to others. With social media, I feel like this is one of those things that is just easier than ever to do. We'll look at someone else's social media, their highlight reel, and compare it to our own very raw, real, and messy life. And the issue with this is when we do this, we're making a distorted comparison. It simply doesn't reflect reality because you're comparing someone else's part to your whole. And honestly, if that person looked at your social media feed, they'd probably assume that you had a perfect life too. But I think even more than that, comparison just isn't productive. What do we gain when we compare ourselves to others? I'd argue nothing except maybe a bad mood. And so it's vital that we own our own journey in all of its joys and difficulties. I love the quote by Tim Hiller that goes, "Don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle or your middle to someone else's end." And how often do we try to do that? But it's only when we stop measuring our lives against others and instead start being content and grateful in the moment and place and time that we're in that we're really going to experience joy. All right, well, that's it. Those are 7 things that you can stop doing in order to simplify your life. And I can honestly say these have been so helpful for me and really some of the most impactful things that I've done to improve my life and just to help me enjoy it more. And before I leave you, I did want to say this video was inspired by the lovely Vera from Simple Happy Zen. She did an incredible video on this exact topic, so I definitely recommend checking it out. And I'll have that linked up for you in the description box below, so be sure to watch that and also give her channel a follow. If you're not already following her channel and you like my videos, trust me, you're going to love her. All right, but now I would love to know, is there one thing that you stopped doing in order to simplify your life? I'd love to hear about it, so be sure to let me know what that is in the comments below. And of course, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give it a like to let me know that you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already for more simple and intentional living videos coming at you twice a week. Hope you have an amazing day, friend, and I'll see you in the next one.